Shane here, Lala67. Bit of an update on the Hobby Boss 48 scale F18A Hornet, or is it Super Hornet? I don't know, Hornet. So, Tactical Jack Loeb or Andy would be quite happy to see a bit of work on this because he's been asking me have I done anything with it, and I've done quite a bit. Last time we saw it, only the cockpit was done, and the ejector and the ejection chair or injection seat, and that was it. So we've done quite a bit. Both fuselage halves are put together, air intakes are in, and our nose. This model is becoming a little bit of a filler queen. It's quite a bit of filler. I'm having a lot of issues with fit. Nothing seems to really want to fit together for me. Though the detail is nice, there's nice engraved detail. Like I've had issues trying to fit the air intakes, quite a bit of gaps at the bottom. I'm not going to worry too much about trying to fill too much of it, just for the simple fact being it's going to be sat on the base glued down, so you're not going to see the undercarriage too much. But still, it's a bit disappointing because this kit was expensive, and I really like the F18, so I don't mind doing the extra bit of work. So far there's been filler in just about everything along the fuselage halves. It's one of those aircraft where the fuselage is upper and lower, so it's not a two-half piece, which is good, so you don't get that seam line running along the spine of the aircraft. Another thing, I've originally made this video on Friday with the hope of by Sunday having another installment up with all this aircraft ready for painting, and it was going quite well until I came across the nose. Nose is a separate piece. I have a counterweight with pennies inside it just to act so this aircraft would be a tail sitter otherwise. And when I basically came to finish it, it did not line up correctly, and I didn't notice until I dry fitted the canopy, which I'm going to talk about in a minute as well. The canopies they're a bit of a letdown. They're actually the biggest letdown in this kit, are the canopies, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So when I dry fitted the canopy, I realised that the nose did not sit high enough in the fuselage, and in order for me to do that, I had to sand at the cut pieces back. Then there was a large gap that I had to fill with styrene strip and then sand it down. So that was a lot of work, and I'm not quite finished sanding it down either. That was about maybe 3 hours of work trying to sand and reposition and fill and clean things back. So this model is not for any ways for people who are kind of new to aircraft building. It's giving me a run for my money, and it's kind of making me use every bit of skill I've learned from the few aircraft models I have built over the last few years. It's still a nice model. Like, I'm not going to say it's a bad kit, because the reviews I read on this before I bought it were quite good, so that's kind of the unusual thing. It could be always down to, I will never put myself past the fact that it could be how I built it. I might have got my alignments off and it just threw everything off as a result, which is possible. Okay, now let's talk about the canopies. Well, Hobby Boss and their infinite wisdom, and I'm a fan of Hobby Boss, even though this model is kind of breaking my heart a little bit. In their infinite wisdom, they decided to put a bloody mold line or a seam running the entire length of the centre of the canopies that I've tried to polish out, and all I've done is scuffed up the canopies, and it's on both sides. You can kind of see how pronounced it is. I've tried to kind of sand it back with very, very fine grade sanding sticks, but to be honest with you, I'm not going to be able to get that out, and that is a big shame. And it runs through the entire, it's not like just a surface mold line, it's actually a proper seam that runs the entire depth of that plastic. Any of the aircraft lads who watch my channel, if you can give me advice on how to remove them. I have tried using, where's the sanding stick I was using? The super fine finishing stick, and all it did was just basically just abrade the clear parts. So I'm a little disappointed with that. That's something that I would either try maybe in time to find a replacement canopy for. Also, some of the fit, as I mentioned earlier, is not great on this kit. Good example here is this undertake. It's about a 2mm gap, which in model making terms is massive. So yeah, I'm not too happy with it in the whole run. I'm still like, don't get me wrong, I still think it's a lovely looking aircraft and it's a beast of a model. It's actually, I didn't realise how monstrous it is. And I've yet to put the states and the fins in, and my quick boost, or no, my Aries resin afterburners. So it's going to be a lot of in this model. Also the Zoom set from Medard, I just removed the ejection chair just for some fat beans. I kept bumping it, I didn't want to damage it. So it's a nice model, I am enjoying it. It's just it's a little bit of a labour of love, though I hope maybe by Monday or Tuesday to have as much of the assemblies finished and get ready for painting. So that's really it. Just a quick update on the F18. So slowly getting there. It's not as part heavy as I thought it would have been. It's not particularly a difficult kit. It's just the fact that I keep going back and cleaning and polishing and sanding pieces. It does drag it out a little bit. But again, not to worry. I'll keep you up to date on what I'm doing on this kit. And so until the next time, thanks for watching. Happy modelling, and watch out for those buses. Bye bye.